of working people in our country. And the reason we can make these commitments, is because we will make sure that those with the broadest shoulders bear the greatest burden. So we'll reverse David Cameron's tax cut for millionaires to help pay down the deficit. We'll crack down on the hedge funds who avoid paying their fair share. We'll stop HMRC operating double standards. We'll call the tax havens to account. And we'll do something that no government has done for over 200 years. We'll say enough is enough to the people who live here, work here, send their kids to school here, but don't want to pay taxes here like everyone else, and we will abolish the non-dom rule. And it's not just on tax, where we'll end the old idea that there's one rule for the rich and powerful and another rule for everyone else. The next Labour government will help create the conditions for wealth creation in everything we do. That means being pro-business, but not pro-business as usual. You can't have banks that are so powerful that they can have things all their own way. That's what we learned from the financial crisis. So with our plan, we'll set a threshold for the market share of the banks, get real competition on our high street, and not have businesses serving our banks, but banks serving our businesses once again. And we won't stand by while powerful energy companies rip off businesses and families, keeping prices too high. So our plan will freeze energy bills so they can only fall and cannot rise, and give the regulator the power to cut prices this winter. Pro-business, but not pro-business as usual. And while we maintain a competitive tax regime for large firms, we will champion small and medium-sized firms and cut and freeze business rates for 1.5 million companies. And the reason we'll do it, is because small and medium-sized businesses will create so much of the profits, wealth, and jobs of the future. And here's the thing. You have to ask, who do you want in power when it comes to these big decisions? When the knock at the door comes from the big 6 energy companies? When the banks send a message asking for a better deal for them? When the tax avoiders turn up demanding that the revenue turns the other way, or when the phone call comes from Rupert Murdoch? Who do you want in Downing Street? Who do you think will stand up to these powerful interests? Who do you want standing up for you? The answer will never be David Cameron, because he's strong at standing up to the weak, but he's always weak when it comes to standing up to the strong. Whoever is making their case, I will always stand up for you. With me as Prime Minister, no powerful interest will outweigh the interests of the working people of our country. That is my mission as Prime Minister. And giving a future for working people and building the wealth of the future means giving opportunities to all of our young people. What does this government plan to do? It plans to cut investment in education, shortchanging our children and shortchanging our country. That's something this Labour Party will never do. We'll invest in our young people and invest in our future. We'll protect our Sure Start centres, our schools and our colleges. We'll guarantee apprenticeships to every young person who gets the grades, and we'll do something else. We'll make amends for the mistakes of this government, for the betrayal of young people, for Calamity Clegg, and will cut tuition fees from £9,000 to £6,000. And it's not just education that needs protecting. We need an NHS with time to care for us all. That's why it's right to ask those who can to pay a little bit more, with a crackdown on tax avoidance, a levy on the tobacco companies, and a mansion tax on the most expensive properties worth over £2 million. It's a properly costed, fully funded plan for 20,000 more nurses, 8,000 more doctors, 5,000 more home care workers, and 3,000 more midwives. That is the rescue plan that our National Health Service needs. And we'll do something else. We'll call time on David Cameron's privatisation of the NHS, with a cap on private profits in our health service. And we will do something else. We will abolish, we will repeal their terrible Health and Social Care Act and put the right values back at the heart of our National Health Service. Now, the importance of this idea that our country only succeeds when working people succeed goes beyond the economy and public services. It shapes our plan for our communities too. Take immigration. I'm the son of immigrants. I stand here today with deep gratitude and love for my parents and what they gave me. And deep gratitude and love for what this country gave us. I know how immigration can benefit our country. But I know also that if working people are to have faith in the system, there have to be controls. Those who come to our shores from abroad should make their contribution to our country before they claim benefits. People should learn English if they work directly with the public in our public services. And we must never allow the wages of working people to be driven down by the gangmasters, the rogue employers, and those who avoid paying the minimum wage, because this Labour Party will always fight exploitation wherever we find it. And changing the old way of running the country means something else, and this is really important for us. It means challenging the way government works. It's about opening up politics so everyone's voice is heard. And it's about giving power back to those to whom it really belongs, the British people, in every single part of our country. More powers for the Scottish Parliament, more powers for the Welsh Assembly, and to the cities, towns and counties of England too. It's time to end a century of centralisation throughout our United Kingdom. So we want to win power in order to give it away and to give new energy to our democracy. It's time to extend the right to vote to 16 and 17-year-olds so young people can have a proper voice in our country. And you know, I'll never cease striving. If I'm Prime Minister, I'll never cease striving for a more equal, more just and more fair society. It's why I joined the Labour Party. Equal rights for all, whatever your gender, race, ability, faith or sexual orientation. That is the Britain I believe in. That is the Britain we all believe in too. And just as we need change here at home, so too abroad. Let me just say it plainly. I believe in a Britain that looks outwards, not inwards, that works with others in our national interest. That's why for jobs, to tackle problems from terrorism to climate change, and because we're at our best when we're confident in the world, our future lies inside, not outside, the European Union. We will work with our allies for reform, and there does need to be reform, but there is no future for this country withdrawing from the world. And we'll work with our allies too, across the world, to face all the difficult issues we need to in our national interest. You know, I pledged to this party and the country when I became leader, we would learn the lessons of the 2003 Iraq War, and we have. We do not seek to solve the problems of the world on our own, but we will engage with the world. We will continue the fight against ISIS in partnership with our allies in the region and the world, because they are an evil organization that must be defeated. And our plan at home and abroad goes together. A country that works for working people again is a country that will be confident and secure with its place in the world. So this is our plan. And you know, today we follow in the footsteps of those who have built the great institutions of our country. All of them called time on the old way of doing things. In 1945, Attlee called time on the dark days of the Depression, and he said, never again. In 1964, Harold Wilson called time on the fusty old way of doing things, and he beckoned in the white heat of the scientific revolution. In 1997, Tony Blair called time on a decaying public realm, and he said our hospitals, our schools, and our public services could again be the best in the world. I do not offer a government that tries to carry on from where the last Labour government left off. I will lead a government that seeks to solve the challenges of our time. Now, over the last 4.5 years, I've been tested. It's right that I've been tested. Tested for the extraordinary privilege of leading this country. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to put an end to the tired old idea that as long as we look after the rich and powerful, we'll all be okay. I'm ready to put into practice the truth that it's only when working people succeed that Britain succeeds. If you elect me as Prime Minister in just over 3 weeks' time, I will work for that goal. I will fight for that goal every single day, in everything I do, in every decision I make. I know Britain can be better. The British people know Britain can be better. Together, let's make it happen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, friends. Friends, thank you very much. Right. Well, look, thank you for that very, very kind response. Now, we're going to take some questions. I just want to say something in advance of these questions. I talked earlier about the kind of country we believe in. What's really important also about the country we believe in is we have a press that asks difficult questions. And it's really important that we hear these questions respectfully, because it is who we are as a country. So I'm going to turn to our friends from the... Just for the record, by the way, it wasn't just the media applauding that, what I said there. Right, I'm going to look for James Landale from the BBC. Yeah, James.
Good morning. I hope I live up to that billing. Why should the British people trust Labour on the economy when you won't say precisely what taxes you will raise, what spending you will cut, and when you will clear the deficit?
Let me respond to that directly. We have set out more detail than an opposition party has, I think, at any stage in terms of a general election. Let me just be very, very clear. about the proposals we're putting forward.